Word of warning, this might be a little upsetting for some of you Miata guys. I am a Miata guy myself. I've been into Miatas since Miatas were brand new. I was 6 years old when the Miata came out, and I remember riding in them and driving NB2s, early NB2s, when they were brand new. I was a porter at the dealership, which probably explains why I've had so many of these cars and also why I part out so many of these cars. I've only had the chance to buy a few Mazdaspeed cars, and this is the second one. And as you can see, this suffered an external overheat situation, and I have no idea how many miles are on it, or if it runs. I mean, I know it doesn't run. Well, let me open up the other hood. It got a little hot. So hot. But we're going to see if we can get it to run today, because I like a challenge, even if it's a waste of time. Just to be clear, I have no intention of fixing this car or driving this car. This car holds a junking certificate. It is strictly a parts car. It can never be re-registered for use on public streets, which is totally fine because, frankly, this is more of a project than I would ever want to tackle. That doesn't mean we can't hear it run. I like to know everything there is to know about the parts I sell, and that is including if the engine runs. Compression and leak down tests will get you so far, but I want to hear it run. I want to know how many miles are on it. We have some things to find out today. Towards the end of the second generation Miata, Mazda decided to make a Mazdaspeed version. This is the second vehicle in the United States to wear the Mazdaspeed badge, the first being the Protege. These cars, it featured a 1.8-liter non-variable valve timing turbocharged engine based on the same 1.8-liter Mazda has had since 1990. It actually came out in the Miata in 94. They make 178 horsepower in factory form. These cars had different gearing, they had different wheels, bumpers, some interior things are different. There's a long list of things that make this car special. In fact, they only made 5,400 of these cars. Now, I've driven several of these cars, both stock and tuned, and some with other mods. And I can tell you that if you own one of these cars without a tune, you are missing out. Now this looks like it may be a low mileage car. The auction writes no Odo on it because obviously it doesn't power up. But the interior is really nice. This was someone's really nice car. Doesn't have much bolster wear. Even the shift knob hardly has any wear. I'm sorry it's dark in here, guys. I'll put the top down in a minute. The only exterior damage really is the top, and that could have happened at any point in time after the fire. It looks like this could be a good mileage car, and that's what I'm hoping for because these engines are not cheap. It is kind of sad though, this car's not rusty. Anyway, let's look underneath the hoods. Well, that's it still doesn't just okay, so it got warm under here. That valve cover is supposed to be red. It looks like this is probably the hottest part over here. If I were guessing, who knows why this caught fire. It looks like it was bone stock, still has a stock airbox. Serpentine belts are still on it. Let's make this a little easier for me. The first thing that I need to do is get this hood out of the way somehow. Normally these hoods come off really easy, but this one, what do we do? Perfect. I almost hit the car with that. That would have been terrible. Well, let's take a look here. Well, for starters, and everything is super melted. Let's see what the inside of this looks like. It's clean. No fire there. Oh, there's a dipstick still. Wow, everything I touch is just crumbling. I mean, it's almost like it was on fire. Now, the wiring over here is kind of troublesome. Some of this stuff is pretty important. Some of this, it doesn't matter. Most of it doesn't matter. We're going to have a lot of work at this. A lot. The wiring is for sure the worst part. Well, the one thing I wanted to check is the timing belt, because that'll determine how much work we have to do. If you can see in there, the belt looks fine. It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. The timing cover is not fine, but we just want to hear it run. That's it. And as you can see, the rest of the wiring, well, this is going to be, there's going to be a lot of butt connectors is all I'm saying. Let's see if we can get this fuse box open. Looks like the cover melted around. Let's, I need to wear my gloves. Let's tackle that first. Then we can see what fuses are blown. Now we're going to need to be pretty ginger to get this open. Okay, well, it melted the fuses and they're popped. That's cool. So we're going to have some work to do. Nothing too bad. This is largely intact. We're just going to have to replace the fuses. The good thing they're color-coded. And now one of these bolts in. That's 100 amps right here. So I can't go prying on it too hard. As long as that one stays. Fuse with cover. That's pretty good. So the 100 amp is not blown. We're still going to replace all these fuses and probably this relay, although I have a feeling the relay is going to be okay. That's the main relay right there. Okay, can we get this out? Looks like it's going to bring part of the cover with it. Oh, that's all we need. We just got the cover off. Look, that relay's mint inside. And it will still relay, so that's good. So we're going to be replacing a lot of fuses on this thing. I know some of this might be premature, but I'd rather start off with a set of good fuses. Hey, I need you. Where'd you go? All right, I'll get that one back in a minute. Now, if this fuse box was melted any further, this would likely be a lot tougher to do. All right, I see where it went. Now I'm going to attempt to grab it. Yes. Okay, ready to start. Wait, nope, not yet. So what's going to likely happen is it's going to pop a whole bunch of fuses. We're going to have to chop a lot of this harness out, and nothing's going to work, which is fine. I just need the cluster to work and the engine to work. This is all headlight harness here. See, all those wires have perfect continuity. That's all fuel stuff. That's going to be fun. But the battery, the battery harness looks to be unscathed. It still has the sheathing on it. That's important. I don't want to replace the battery harness. This is all nice condition stuff here. I guess I should probably pay attention to where this stuff goes. It's fine. It's totally fine. I guess I'm going to remove this strut bar, at least give us a little more access. I definitely want to power this thing up first. I'm going to have to disconnect the ECU so we don't let any smoke out. Any more smoke out? Actually, next I'm going to remove a bunch of charred wreckage. Let's just get this cleaned up a little bit. How am I ever going to put this back together? Well, that's not all full of water, so that's good. I think that hose has a hole in it, but I think the rest of the cooling system looks to be intact. Fans are done. Throttle cable still cables, I think. Maybe not. I think throttle cable is going to be too far gone. We'll see. There's a TPS connector in here somewhere. All of these things are one piece now. Let me get the wire cutters. I'm just going to snippy everything. It's all one piece, it doesn't matter. We have to basically fix all this anyway. Well, I can't get the crank sensor bolt off, so I need to... That is not working as intended. Use a chisel. There, I think I can get on it now. Okay, let's add a crank sensor to the list of needs. Okay. But these connectors down here are still good. Okay, that TPS is going to be a problem too. I think we'll be okay though. Okay, we're making some progress here. And there's the bypass valve assembly. It's good. Alright, so this is all airflow meter wiring, crank sensor. Ooh, that got kind of toasty. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that. The serpentine belts are unhappy. I think they'll be fine once they run all this plastic that melted and dripped onto them off. Let's see if we can get the airbox out. That looks like fun. So I'm using a special tool called a don't care about this car prying device. And so far it seems to be the right tool for the job. Lots of melted stuff. We'll have to get a vacuum out here. Oh, I see. This connects to that, and then we've got AC. That doesn't matter. We're not going to run the air conditioning in this, but we do need to pay attention to... Oh, I think we're going to be okay. The crank sensor disconnected. Connector's still good. We are good. All right, well, we still have some hoses that seem to be okay. So we'll disconnect those the correct way.
Kinda.
And then we have this crankcase hose, which doesn't matter, so we're just gonna snip it right there. Now we are getting somewhere. So it's definitely gonna need coils and wires, at least some of them. So let's make that happen. Okay, so as you can see, plug wires look to be in pretty good shape, the parts that are in the valve cover, so I don't think this got too hot. Usually these things are long gone if that would be the case, if this thing got that hot. All right, so our oxygen sensor connector is unhappy. We're going to cut that on the harness side, and we'll deal with that later. Oh, okay. That broke. It's fine. I'm just literally ripping parts off of it as I go. EGR. These connectors all seem to be unaffected. Okay, so the engine harnesses, for the most part... Oh, I don't want to break the windshield. I gotta be careful. Is there a ground? No. So there are sub-harnesses that go to the injectors, and none of that appears to be melted. Thank God. That would be a lot more work for me. I'm not going to say that everything's perfect. I think the TPS survived here. Yes, I will be able to plug into that, and I need a bunch of vacuum line. Next, to see if the throttle cable cables. I'll press on the gas pedal, and nope, that's locked up solid. Oh, the clutch pedal, there's no clutch pedal. It's fine. So this cable's locked up, and I would bet that it's in this area or this area. Now we need to go disconnect the ECU. I'm doing this just to make sure that I don't send power to something that's not supposed to have power. Is that it? Is there just 3? Yep, there's just 3. Now, to avoid setting this thing on fire again, I'm actually going to cut this entire harness off right where it really starts getting bad, right about here. This hood pop out of the way. And this hopefully will make sure that it doesn't catch on fire again. No guarantees though. There we go. So hopefully nothing makes continuity with itself right in there. And now we're going to go to the other side and do the same. All right, so now the harness gets really bad. That's all ABS stuff, so that doesn't matter. We don't need no ABS. But we need fire, another fire less than we need ABS. We're just going to cut it right here. It's all headlight stuff. Those aren't there anymore. And there's also some relays and some things back here. I can't really tell how bad it is. It all looks external, like it all looks like it's just a sheathing that's melted. And now let's go check on the battery and see what the battery looks like. Okay, well the battery's not cut. The cables aren't cut anyway, so that's good. Looks like we've had some rodents in here. That's not good. Can't be any worse than fire. I think at this point I'm going to put a jump box on it and we're going to see if it sets itself back on fire. I do have fire extinguishers and I know how to use them. This is a big moment here. Ground is connected. Now, unfortunately I can't use my nose to smell if there's smoke because this car just smells like fire. Well, we're still going to try. Well, we have trunk lights. My jump box is dead. Well, I don't think that just killed my jump box that fast. Oh, we have fire. Stuff's happening. Stuff's happening right now. Well, we definitely had some fire happening over here. I gotta get this fuse box up. Figure out what wire is so unhappy. It could be a wiper motor. Okay, so this all looks okay. It's just a little charred. I know there's another bolt. I know there's more bolts holding this in. Looks like this might be, oh yes, that's hot still. Yeah, this is, I'm gonna have to trim this back even farther. That looks terrible. Yeah. I didn't realize this was this bad. It's not good. It's not good at all. This is going to require a little bit of time here. I wish this part was on fire a little bit less. I don't know. Let's just break this all apart here so we can get everything separated. Get this bracket out of the way. We don't need the wiper motor. Okay, so this area is in really bad shape. We're just going to peel this all back. So this one looks to be the least damaged. This one can stay. But I don't think it's a lost cause. Not at all. All right, now we're going to check some fuses. I bet a ton of them are blown. And I'm looking for the room fuse. And let's see what else we got here. Cigar. I bet you like half of these are popped. That's a good sign. I think this thing got wet. Probably when they were trying to put the fire out. All right, so I need to find 12, which is this 15 amp right here. It's a meter fuse. Oh, I guess I can only do one fuse at a time, huh? And that's not blown. All right, so it could also be 5, which is the 7.5 right here. That one is, how is that one good? I've found one blown fuse in the under hood fuse box, and it'll probably pop it again when I connect it, but we're gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna watch for fire. No fire yet. I think we're okay. The cluster is still not powering on. So now we have some dash lights. We have a low fuel light, seatbelt light, the radio turns on, dome light works, but the cluster doesn't light up. Airbag light is kind of on. It's pretty pissed. But I really need to see why the cluster doesn't light up. So there are 3 fuses that feed the cluster. The room fuse, there's a 7.5 amp fuse, I think it's ST STIG, and then meter. Meter's the big one. So I've got my test light here, and we're going to see if the fuses have power. If the fuses don't have power, we'll go look at the wiring diagram and figure out where that power comes from. And this 15 amp is the meter fuse. It's got 10 volts. It's not enough, but it's something. And then this fuse here. Okay, so the meter and room fuse have power, and the ST SIG fuse does not. So we're going to go look into where that gets its power from. All right, so this is the ignition switch here. And up here is the engine bay fuse box, which is a little toasty. And here is the cabin fuse box. So here is our ST SIG fuse here, which is not getting power. And it looks like it gets power only in the start function. That doesn't make sense. We have power here. We just don't have power here. Where does this fuse feed? Oh, that's the cruise control and instrument cluster systems. So we need to see where this power goes. So it's a violet wire from the fuse box. Let's go look. We're looking for a violet wire. It may be different though. Oh, there we go. Hot and start. I wonder if it's hot when hot. No, see, there's run and start, so it's only during cranking. Yeah, that's just for the starter. I don't think that matters. Let's actually go to the starting system and take a look at that. Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. Here's the instrument cluster right here. I'm not worried about that fuse not having power. So now we need to check to see if the cluster has a good ground. The next thing we're going to do is look at the ground distribution. So we know what kind of works here. I'm just reading here. Instrument clusters in here, instrument clusters in here, and instrument clusters in here. So it's acting like it's got an ignition switch problem. That is kind of odd. And it could have burned up the ignition switch, I suppose. We can always pull that column apart and take a look. In fact, I think we should take a look there. I got extra switches here, so it won't be a problem. Before we go tearing this thing apart, let's look at a few things here. Mainly the ignition switch. So the ignition switch gets its power from a 60 amp fuse that's in the fuse box in the engine bay. And then it splits here and it powers the starting and run side of the switch. And the entire switch is powered off of one white with a red wire. So now we know that the radio does power on. At least it lights the radio up. So since the radio lights up, we know we have power at least to this leg because that feeds this. And we also know it feeds the meter fuse here. So we know we have 12 volts here. Well, we have power. I'm not going to call it 12 volts. We have power here, power here. We don't have power here. Well, we don't know that, but we need to find out. Let's go see if maybe we can find a broken wire, because it's possible that this white with a red wire here is in this section right here is in the engine bay, and I chopped it out because it was all melted. First, we're going to see if we got power to this fuse. I'm sure we do, but I want to verify. I don't know if that's going to be a good enough ground. Okay, we have voltage here. Uh-oh. How do we have power at both sides? So I think we've got some wires touching each other. Probably in this mess. I'm trying to feel for the heat. This area this is where most of the damage is. Okay, do we have power at any of these relays here? Yeah. Do we have windows? No, we don't have windows. We have a horn? Ha, that's burned. We have blower? No, no blower. The next thing we're going to do is remove the ignition switch. This comes out pretty easily. Just get this lower dash panel out of the way while we're here. Don't want to damage anything. So we've got some wiring here. Is it melted? I don't see anything melted. So that part is good. So now we need to see if we got power to the switch. Okay, so I gave the car some juice. So we got power at the blue wire. Okay, so we're missing a power leg to the ignition switch. I think it's supposed to be white with the red. There are two of them, and let's go find out where that comes from. Oh, I think we know. So if we have power to the blue wire, we'll go look at our wiring diagram, and we'll figure out why we have power to one side and not the other. So I think what's happening here is we're getting power back-fed to the ignition switch. We don't have power at either of these white and red. We just have power at the blue. And so this is the power feed for the switch. And we have power at this, which makes sense as to why some of the cluster lights up. And if you look, the meter fuse is also fed power by the blue wire. So if it's going the wrong direction, exterior lights, transmission, shift interlock, cluster, SRS, so that light's on. Door locks, I don't know if those work or not. Cruise control, I can't test. But exterior lights got burned up, and we know the SRS light is on. So we have power backfed to the meter fuse. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So we definitely have some wires that are unhappy, and now we got to go find them. So I'm looking at the wiring diagram again. I now have power where I'm supposed to. I wiggled the wires, that fixed it. And now I'm pretty confident that I'm missing this ground. And the reason I say that is this cluster has two grounds. It has terminal N on connector 1, which I've highlighted, and it has terminal J, which is the black wire. This ground is behind the right headlight. That's gone. And this ground is behind the left headlight. That's gone. So these two grounds are gone, but I cheated. So we sell these clusters powered up on the bench, and I went and picked out the harness we used to plug that in. There's only one connector, so I matched up the wire color. It turns out it is connector 1. So I should be able to get the cluster to power up as long as I verify this ground is good. What I'm going to likely do is stick my head under the dash and pull that whole harness through to the inside, strip it down, and then we'll ground it on the inside of the cabin and see if we have an odometer. So this harness back here is where I need to fish through the firewall and into the cab. So we're going to do that now. Can't get my camera back there, but I'll do my best. Well, I thought this would be easy. It really isn't. All right. Are the color that we need. Wouldn't you know? I've got the harness pulled through. I've got all the melted wires separated and all of the possible wires for the ground for this cluster pulled out and ready. It's a black wire with a blue stripe. So now we're going to pull the cluster. I've already pulled the cluster hood. We're going to pull the cluster, and we're going to do a continuity test between the terminal I know is ground from the wiring diagram and one of the wires down in the dash, and that way we can figure out which wire to ground, and we'll see if the cluster lights up. So it is this connector here, this terminal right there. Let's go get a meter. All right, now we just need to listen for the beep. Oh, what was that? Okay. So I'm going to get this grounded, and we're going to see if we get a cluster out of this. All right, we're going to do this together. Let's get this. What just happened? Oh, we have an odometer. 93,000 miles. Boy, that's awesome. Let's see what happens when we key on here. Nothing. Parking brake. Okay, so we successfully have an odometer. We know this car has 93K, which is good. Anything under 100 is great for one of these. Now we have a lot of work to do. Now we know the miles, 93,000 miles. That's really good for any first or second gen Miata. Anything under 100K, I'd consider low miles. But this video was not about figuring out how many miles were on this car. This video was about getting this car running, and I know many of you are scratching your heads trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to do that. And well, I don't hoard parts. Okay, hoarding is a strong word. I prefer save. So here I have a complete Mazdaspeed Miata engine that I've had for 3 years. It's not a good engine. It's got a blown head gasket. It's still a good parts engine. And I kept this around because I needed some hardware, some fittings, and some other things for a turbo build that I haven't even, whatever. I kept it, okay? I kept it. I couldn't sell this. I kept it. And wouldn't you know it, that all of the external parts on this engine are good, and on this, not so much. So now comes the task of replacing this harness, the coils, some sensors, and then maybe we can hear this thing run.
It's not cheating, okay? I already owned the parts. I owned this before I owned this. It's fair.
This is going to be grand. Very grand. The first matter of business is going to be this harness. So as you can see, here are the ECU connectors. That's simple. We've already been in there. Looks like this just slides over a stud. And then this boot is on the passenger side of the firewall, and then this is all the engine stuff. This was not a very nice Mazdaspeed Miata. It was probably the worst one ever. This burned car is still nicer, but hopefully the harness is intact enough to use. Okay, let's see where this goes. I'm glad Miatas are small cars, you know. So that harness comes out right here. And I know it's supposed to go the other way, but that is not going to stop me. I'm going to pull it through this way because I don't really want to drag this burned up junk harness through here. I don't know, maybe I might have to. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to have to. Let's get that pushed in. There, go now. There. Okay, so all of this, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to chop it. So this harness is pretty much junk anyway, so there's no real reason, none at all. We'll just start clipping stuff. So if you guys don't have cutters like this, these are like the best. Perfect. Let's see if we can pull this through the interior. All right, maybe we just get lucky and we can just pull on this. It'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be fine. Oh. Yes. Oh, the hard part, getting the rest of this up to where it was. This harness is in such good shape. The previous owners took such good care by removing every bit of tape. Well, I looked long and flexible for my mechanical fingers, and I can't find them. In fact, I don't even know if we ever had any here at the shop. So I'm going to stick my flashlight in the hole where the harness goes through, and hopefully I can see kind of where to aim it, and then I can reach it with some pliers through the other side. It's an idea. I didn't say it was a great one. Oh, I see light. I should probably tape this up. That'd be a good idea. In fact, I'm going to get some zip ties. That's easier than tape. Okay, I've got this kind of zip tied up, and now we're going to do my best. Now I'm going to do my best to get this into the area where I can see it. I have a feeling this is not going to work too well, but all I can do is try. All right, now let's see if I can see a thing with it. Oh, I see the tip. Can I get it? I just need the tip. Nope. All right, we're going to keep trying.
This isn't a great time. I swear this is going to work.
All right. Well, I got it kind of crammed in there as far as I can. Oh boy, I'm all messed up here. Can I see the harness? Oh, I see the harness. Can I get it though? seeing it and getting it, two different things. Oh, really? I only get one connector, and then that's it? I can see another connector. We have another connector that wants to make an entrance or exit, whatever you want to call it. Two connectors, one zip tie. It sounds bad. It's not really what I meant. Okay, so basically we have to just go back and forth a whole bunch because it gets caught on, I don't know, everything. Oh, now that was good. There's the crank sensor. What else we got? Power steering switch. Well, there we go. We're getting more. There we go. Okay, I think I'm there, guys. I don't really have to snap it in, but this is getting caught on everything. This is it. This is the harness. All right, now that the harness is pulled through, before we start putting anything back on here, I'm actually going to start removing some of the burned up stuff just so it doesn't get caught in the belts or cause another problem in the future. That's still good. The belts appear to be okay. I think I need to check inside the timing cover because the upper timing cover is melted and I don't want anything throwing the timing belt off. So let's take a look. Just be able to get in there, see if there's any melted bits we're gonna have to fish out. Oh, there's the belt. I don't really see anything down in there. I don't want to do all this work and then have a problem. Well, there is something down there. I can't see it with my eyes. What is that? That'll be fine. It'll eat that. I think we're okay. The first thing I'd like to pull off of the parts engine, the coils and plug wires. No! Okay, that one's okay. Oh, this is going to be fun. Alright, so the middle one's okay. The outer one, that came apart. Can I get that out in one piece? This one is still stuck. Sweet. So I just have one. I'm going to get it. We're good. That'll work. Now to put these back in. Is there something else in there? Uh-oh. Oh, something did fall in there. No worries, we'll get it out. I think we're good now. Okay, the next thing I need to do is get the cam sensor out of the other engine. Alright, now we need to find all the plugs. So, where does everything go? Alright, well, let's start with the short wires here. Looks like, I don't know what that does. We'll figure that out. Oh, that's the solenoid back here. There's the EGR. That's oxygen sensor. Ooh, that's going to take a minute. We can get our coils plugged in. Now, this harness is pretty butchered, so I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be laid out, but is that TPS? Yes, that sounded terrible. I don't know what this does. Well, could this possibly be? Oh, it's a solenoid we'll get that in a minute. That's a boost control solenoid. And then it plugs into there, I think, please, within reason. This ground goes right here, and I have the bolt for it, one that came out of it. Okay, so we've got IAC, we have TPS, don't have cam sensor. Is that cam sensor? That's cam sensor. So this is the boost control solenoid. I don't know if I really want to do that. This is crank sensor, we need that, that's important. And then what else we got? Airflow meter, intake air temp, and power steering. This doesn't do anything, but I'm going to plug the power steering in. All right. Well, this looks like AC. That we definitely want to hear. We definitely want the AC to work, so I plug that in. And then we just have 3 things left: airflow meter, IAT, which is intake air temp, and the boost control solenoid. I'm going to plug a boost control solenoid in so it doesn't freak out for whatever reason. I don't know what these will tolerate not having. So that's just air on the side of caution here. Burned one out of here. Now I'm not planning on running boost or driving this car around. It just needs to run, which is why I'm just plugging everything in. That's it. All right, everything is nicely done here. I have vacuum lines, and I have the rest of the harness under the dash. We'll do that last. Oh, I still have to worry about the O2 sensor. I would like to get that plugged in. This doesn't look so great. I don't know if I can do anything with this. This appears to all be one piece. I don't know if I can chisel this away. I'm going to try, though. This isn't looking too promising, guys. If I just smash this connector, maybe it'll come out. Right? Now let's see if we can look at the wire color. Well, we can go by the wire color on the other one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to smash this connector, and then I can just insert the pins in the harness side connector right here. Yeah, these pins are going to be female. The harness is male. Okay, that was explosive, but I think we're good. That's like best case scenario, because I'm pretty sure I can just plug this in. Yeah, I think I can plug this in. Almost. I gotta break the rest of this melted stuff off. I have no idea what direction I'm supposed to go in, but it's fine. I'll look at it on the other connector on the parts engine. According to the other oxygen sensor on the parts engine, it fits like this. Does this plug in? No, this doesn't plug in. What the? You're supposed to go like this? Oh, it goes like this. That's good enough for me. Check the oil. It's full. All right, we're getting somewhere. Let's figure out the vacuum. I just got to plug everything. That's kind of how I'm going to do it. So the biggest vacuum line or vacuum port is going to be the brake booster, which we're not going to try the brakes. So we're just going to slide that over this. And then we're going to slide this in there. It's an AC Delco plug. And we're good. I might put that clamp on there. But now let's plug up the smaller stuff. Pull off some of this crispy stuff here. You know what? We're going to disconnect. Nope, that's all one piece. Nope, we're just going to forget that. Man, this rubber's cooked on here. Well, this calls for blue. All right, looks like I have 3 vacuum ports here. Let's get some vacuum lines and just off this other motor and just see if we can connect the dots here. All right, so here's the actual vacuum line that goes between these 2 ports. It's like a glove. Don't forget to put the clamps on. Hopefully this one's long enough. All right, so this is the wire, the connector I didn't know is this sensor here that's in the charge piping. So we're just gonna, there, it's plugged in. There we go. I guess we also should look at the cooling system. I don't want it spraying coolant. It looks like maybe the radiator will hold coolant, but this hose certainly won't. So we'll get that hose changed over since I already have it on the other engine. Oh, the coolant looks nice. Now, I know this doesn't make much sense, but I'm doing it anyway because I don't want coolant all over the floor if I can avoid it. And I'm not going to let this thing run long enough to get to operating temperature anyway because the fans are melted, the fan wiring's gone, and like I said, we just want to hear it run. That's it. That's the assignment. Now, one more thing I have to do is replace the PCV valve. I'm just going to put this back together. Oh, I found there's more vacuum line stuff. We'll keep finding this as we go, but it's fine. Oh no. Okay, so that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to slightly modify this very carefully. You know, so we don't create any unnecessary damage. Just like, you know, just a little bit of a bend there. Slide that out. Slide that one in. Oh, look how well that fits. It's almost like it's from one of these. So I've got another vacuum line here, and I'm not really sure where this one goes. I think it's missing on the other engine. Ooh, that's crunchy. Tee that one into one of these other lines here. I think that's going to make the most sense. Like a glove. Now, I know some of you are concerned about the fueling on this engine, fuel supply, and it doesn't look like that was terribly affected by this. So I'm just not going to do anything, and if it sprays fuel, then we will address it with future time. So the next thing I need to do is worry about the intake. What I think I'm going to do is use a non-turbo intake tube. So I've got several of these laying around, and we're just going to clamp that down. It's my favorite kind of clamp. And then we can put the airflow meter at the other end of the tube. Now we do have one vacuum line. It's actually for crankcase ventilation. So we'll have to seal that up somehow since we're not going to connect that. Airflow meter. Uh-oh, does this not fit this? I don't think this fits this. They're different. Okay, plan B. Well, I did find something that's going to work. I have a part of an intake ducting piece from a Mercedes. I think it's from a 230 compressor. If I were a remembering guy. Let's get that clamped down. And then this goes there, but not before we put a clamp on it. I mean, I really don't need a clamp, but I'm going to put a clamp on it. I'm going to run out of clamp. No, we got plenty. These cheap clamps, they got all kinds of adjustment. Okay, so the IAT can kind of hang out, and where did... Oh, it's right here. Okay, so the IAT, we'll just set that kind of somewhere. And everything is plugged in, except we got to go to the cabin and plug that stuff in. We only have 3 ECU connectors, and then one big junction connector. So I should be able to get all this done pretty quickly. I don't know about comfortably, but quickly. Okay. There's the big connector. And then we have the ECU connectors. Alright, so now we need to ground that wire again. It's for the cluster. I don't know why I ungrounded that. Disgrounded, reground, I don't know. Now we need to do a couple tests before we even try to start this thing. Well, let's make sure the key is not in the ignition. Nope, it's in the ignition and it's turned forward. Okay, so key's out of the ignition. We're gonna put the jump box in it and make sure it doesn't set itself on fire again. This is always a possibility. Contact. I don't see anything. I don't smell anything. All right, the next thing, we gotta see if we have power to the computer. So I'll know if the computer has power if the check engine light lights up when I key on. Look at that. Oh boy. I don't see smoke, do I? It's hard to see out of this windshield. It's kind of burned up. Well, I guess we could try to start it. Yeah, let's try to start it. Start it because we have a really small fuel leak from this fuel hose that goes, man, where are we going to get that fuel hose? Oh, here's one. So we're just going to replace this this really simple fuel line. Looks like it's swelled, has a split in it, and I don't think that was the cause of the fire because the fire looks worse on that side. I think that was caused from the fire. So let's get this replaced. All right. Oh, gotta get some of these other things out of the way first. I could have gone without that. One side. And let's see. It's not the exact same, but it's gonna work. And maybe it is the exact same and it just looks different. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it snaps right on. 1, 2, and fixed. All right, one more thing to do before I crank this thing. Check engine light's flashing at me. It's probably pissed. Ah, there we go. This just makes sure we have communication here. I don't want to just sit here and crank all day. Let's go through. This might take just a moment. Miata turbo engine data 1. It's collecting data, finding all the data. All right, we have data. It sets at 73 degrees in here. I do think we're ready to see if this thing starts. Oh boy. Okay, guys. This is the big event. Hopefully it doesn't catch itself on fire. That would be terrible. Clutch pedal in. Neutral. All cranks. I wonder if it's throwing any codes yet. Let's find out. Well, it's throwing some Immobilizer codes. We're going to give this one more shot, and then we're going to go look up the wiring for the Immobilizer because it could be missing a ground. Nope. Nope, let's go look up the wiring. So here's a wiring diagram on the Immobilizer. There's the Immobilizer there. It gets power from the black and white, terminal L. And then the indicator is powered from the room fuse. The black and white is powered from the engine fuse. So I need to check power at terminal L, and I need to check power at terminal J. So black and white and blue and red should both have 12 volts. If either of them don't have, or if they have different voltages, maybe the Immobilizer is not turning on and we may have to supply an outside source, or maybe fix the wiring as to why it doesn't have that. So let's find engine fuse 15 amp and see if we have power to it and work our way towards the Immobilizer. This car is throwing a P1624, which is an Immobilizer code. So now I'm going to check to see if the Immobilizer has power. If it does have power and the Immobilizer is bad, we might be dead in the water here. I'm going to be very sad. But the key symbol does not light up in the cluster, which could be a decent indicator. So first, let's check our powers here at the connectors. We need white with a black. All right, there's 11.8 volts. Okay, so we have both of our powers. Now we need to check the ground. All right, now we're going to check continuity for ground to make sure that the immobilizer has ground. This black wire here should scream at me. No ground? I don't really believe that. Well, we might have our problem here. Let's make sure I'm getting a good connection. I think this will probably solve our little continuity test. And get ready for the beep. No beep. Immobilizer's got no ground. No ground. Okay, we are onto something. So now we need to ground that wire. Well, that's a relief. The immobilizer might not be junk after all. So this is what I've decided to do here. I've got the immobilizer hanging by the connector. I've got the ground wire stripped and then a wire twisted around it like a professional. And then that wire is run to this wire, twisted, also like a professional. And then even better, it is clamped to the door stay stud. It's perfect. Absolutely it's just fine. Absolutely fine. Okay, now I'm going to power the car up. Key is in the on position. When I power the car up, in the right side of the cluster, you should see a key symbol light up and then turn off if everything's copacetic. So I'm going to look over the trunk lid when I do this, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed, because if this immobilizer is bad, this car's not starting at all. And this was all for nothing. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay, here we go. Come on. Run, please. Pretty please. Also, don't catch fire again. All right, so now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to jam the fuel pump relay open. I think it's this one right here, if my memory serves. So it is definitely plugged in. It's right there. So I'm going to decase this and see if I open it with power to the car, key on, I should hear the fuel pump run. These relays do go bad. I've sold these in the past. All right, now I've got the key on, engine off, and I've got my relay here. See if I can draw that relay in. Yep, I can hear the pump right there, so we're just going to kind of need to keep that in somehow. There we go. That works. The pump's running. All right, let's give this another shot. So as soon as I connect the battery, I've got fuel pressure. And if I start it, if the injectors are pulsing, this car should start. I mean, they should all start. Well, I looked at the wiring diagram, and I wanted to make sure the injectors were getting constant power, and I found a bent terminal. I've actually straightened it a little bit. We're going to straighten it up a little bit more, plug it in, and we'll see if this fixes it. Okay, let's power this thing up and try again. I'm curious to see if that relay doesn't need any help after this. I'll come back here. Everything seems to be okay. Let's key on. Nope, I'm still gonna help that relay out. Here goes something. I don't know. Is it gonna work? Please work. Yes! Ha ha ha! Yes! Ah, fantastic. Belts are unhappy, that's fine. Ugh. That was a little too close for comfort. Oh, it's pushing water out of the turbo. Watch this. That That's neat. I'm sure the turbo's just fine. I'll shut up, belts. Probably from when they went to put the fire out. Oh, this is great. Yes! 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 Oh, this thing's actually idling pretty well. So, it's got a little bit of a shake to it. It's fine. It's pretty unhappy, I'm sure, but listen to this. Back to life. Oh, that's awful. The engine sounds healthy. 93,000 miles. It's going to take a little cleanup to make it a sellable unit, but this is great. Idle's pretty good. Can't ask for anything better. There are over 100 videos on this YouTube channel, and I've had fun filming all of them, from all the teardowns, fixing cars. The Ranger video was a lot of fun, but none of them, not a single one, can come close to how much I enjoyed filming this. This is what I love. I love taking something that no one should ever do and doing it in front of you guys. So there's a big question here is, would I have gone through all of this work without having you guys to watch? I don't know. That's a lot. That's a big question. But I will say this. I love electrical diag, I love Miatas, and I love a challenge. And this was all three of those things. This was a lot of work. And had this not worked, and had this not run, or that immobilizer been bad, which I would have been screwed if that were the case, I wouldn't be nearly as happy. It would have been a lot of work for what? So I could see the miles and hear it crank? Well, I could have taken the cluster out, powered it up on the bench, and jumped the starter with battery and heard it crank. I wanted it to run. I like to know what I'm selling is good. Sure, I'm going to have to spend a little bit of time on cleanup, valve cover, timing cover, intake manifold, those kinds of things. But I have them. I have a bad engine over here, and I don't plan on using those parts for any other projects. But I really enjoyed this. This was a ton of fun. This took 3 nights to film, almost 10 hours, maybe even more. And I don't even want to think about editing this. But you guys don't have to. I have to think about that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to buy parts off of this 93,000 mile Mazdaspeed Miata, or this is the saddest thing ever, is a rust-free 89,000 mile 90 Mariner Blue smash in the front. But it runs. I'm going to leave our email in the video description. You can also go to importapart.com and you can peruse what we have listed. Check out the recent parts cars that I've uploaded. And if you don't see what you're looking for, you can send us a part request on the website. It sends us an email of exactly what you're looking for. As always, I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yes!